Hey, welcome back to Hot Topics. It's the 29th of October, 7 days until we almost know who the next president will be and who will control the House and the Senate and the governorships across the country. The Republican Party, the GOP, conservatives are gaining momentum and staying on message, opposing Democrat policies of open borders and immigration, crime, defund the police, no cash bail, arrest and release, high inflation, deficit spending. So they're staying on message. Democrats, led by Kamala Harris, are focused on abortion and Trump and turning the page, but not much else at this stage. Seems like there might be a bit of panic setting in on the Democrat side. That's based on the rhetoric we've heard for the past few days and what we're going to hear this week, what we're going to hear today from Kamala at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. Reminds me of Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. I believe it was she who coined that phrase. Well, so much for that. Her media appearances have proven to be one worse than the other. The policies she put forward have all fallen flat. So Trump is Hitler, Trump is a fascist, Trump is an insurrectionist. I think it might be easier to argue the Biden-Harris years will more resemble fascism than the 4 years of Trump. The whole Democrat establishment, which of course includes state-controlled media of ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, AP, PBS, all the others, are all on board this closing argument of the Harris campaign. Trump is Hitler, Trump is a fascist. Well, John Kelly said so, and John Kelly worked with Trump, so it must be so. Now, this rhetoric may solidify their base, may stimulate the progressives. It's going to do nothing to gain undecideds or independents. It certainly won't gain any R's. They have the never-Trumpers already, so. But this rhetoric is not helpful. Kamala should stay on issues. How her policy positions differ from Trump's. That's what Trump's doing. Kamala held a press conference last week on the steps of the U.S. Naval Observatory, the official home of the VPs and their families, just to tell us Trump was a fascist. Today, probably as I'm recording, she's speaking at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. with the White House in the background, expecting a large gathering. And it's going to be a focus on January 6th and the so-called insurrection. In politics, there are two types of campaigns. Positive campaigns, which are focused on what candidates' policies are, what the candidate wants to do, solid values. America's great. Americans are great. Let's make things better. Negative campaigns, the more popular and often the favorite of political consultants, go after the other candidate, how bad they are, how much their policies will hurt rather than help. It's about why not to vote for someone else. Why not vote for me? The base loves negative campaigns from both sides. Bomb throwers love negative campaigns from both sides. The general electorate, not so much. They prefer to hear what the candidate wants to do, what the candidate is about. Really don't have that locked in for Kamala. She has gone negative. What else is she going to do? The joy effect has worn off the more she has appeared in front of the media. And by the way, with the exception of Fox News, the friendly media, the we want Kamala media, we hate Trump media. And now in the last 7 days, it's apparently going to be a cacophony of Trump is a felon, Trump is a fascist, Trump is Hitler. Maybe we'll get some more turn the page. Of course, abortion is a big part of Kamala's campaign. Beyond that, I'm not sure what to reiterate. But so much for cooling down the rhetoric. Let us not forget, former President Trump, they've tried to kill him twice in the past few months. This was all capped off on Sunday with Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden. Left has been freaking out about that. And unfortunately, the comedian they had on stage with some off-color jokes that gave the Democrat media something to latch onto. Otherwise, a very positive, robust, exciting, pro-American rally. But the left is freaking out, because US-based Nazis held a rally there in 1936. Therefore, Trump is a Nazi. MSNBC was off the charts with video footage of that 1936 rally juxtaposed against Trump's rally. Just silly. Never mind, the Dems have had more than one of their events over the years at Madison Square Garden, including Bill Clinton. So when they go low, apparently it's now we go lower. It's a new line for the remainder of the campaign. And on that note, barring an overwhelming lead by either candidate by the time polls close on Tuesday night on the West Coast, we are not likely to know the winner for a few days, at least. Blue state mail-in ballots will be the cause. And some of those blue states will allow mail-in ballots to be received and counted up until polls close and even after Tuesday the 5th. In Nevada, the Supreme Court has ruled that ballots can be counted that have been received up to 3 days after the election is over, which is to say the end of the day on November 5th. Just stunning. I remain deeply concerned about voting integrity. Mail-in ballots, ballot harvesting, ballot drop boxes, rushed and late night counting, same-day registration, non-citizen voting, no voter ID. And in the middle of all this is the United States Postal Service handling all these ballots in both directions, all these registration forms in both directions. I'm not convinced that the chain of security is sufficiently in place with the U.S. Postal Service. We all know mail-in ballots are highly susceptible to fraud. We've made a mistake going down this path. We have to return to same-day voting, make it a federal holiday, make it 2 or 3 days, whatever needs to be done, but we have to end this mail-in ballot stuff. Absentee ballots are one thing. Those are sent out by request only. But this mass mail-in ballots is really damaging election integrity in America. It's a national embarrassment. We will not know who the winner is, again, barring a wipeout, on the end of the election day, Tuesday, November 5th. We will not know who the winner is. And lots of decision makers around the world need to know who's going to be running the United States, not to mention financial markets. Anyway, there's some peculiarities developing already. No surprise in Pennsylvania. Police are investigating some 2,500 voter registration forms that were submitted in 2 massive batches. And investigators say that 60% of the forms they've checked are so far fraudulent. All the ballots were submitted by Lancaster County. Speculation it's work of a large-scale canvassing operation. Don't know who's behind it yet. The roughly 2,500 applications landed at or near Pennsylvania's October 21st registration deadline. Some observers are speculating that the timing may have been tactical with the intent of exploiting time-pressured administrators and the upcoming November 5th election day. As they examined the massive heap of forms, application processors were immediately alarmed by what they saw. Multiple applications with the same handwriting and signatures, many forms filled out on the same day, applications for previously registered voters whose signatures on the forms did not match the ones on file. This prompted a police investigation. Lancaster County detectives soon confirmed many of the applications were fraudulent, and the infractions included inaccurate addresses, false personal identification information, false names that didn't match social security numbers on the form. Just bad news. Mail-in ballots, the registration policies, were asking for trouble. In many cases in Pennsylvania, forms had accurate data, but the supposed applicants told detectives they had neither requested nor completed the forms, and confirmed that the signatures were not theirs. And all 60% of these 2,500 applications have been vetted and are found to be fraudulent. That's a big number. And if it's happening there, it's happening elsewhere. We have revelations that in Mesa County, Colorado, ballots are found to have been stolen and mailed in. We see the stories coming out of Washington and Oregon, ballot boxes being set on fire with hundreds of ballots inside them. Think about this. We put ballot boxes out on public streets without security. The ballot, the most precious thing, going back to Nevada and the Supreme Court that said that ballots without a postmark can be counted up to 3 days after the election. It's just stunning that we have Supreme Court judges advocating for this. And what the judges say is that the legislation that was passed in Arizona to expand to mail-in ballots was meant to make voting easier so that more could participate. But that should not be our goal, making voting easier. Voting is an obligation of citizenship. We should make it as easy as possible while still maintaining integrity of the vote. I'm afraid we just don't have that. And so either side is going to be suspect of this election. I have Kamala winning. Trump seems to be gaining momentum. And if Trump were to win, I'm not sure he's going to take office. I believe the Democrats when they say Donald Trump will never again be president. Now, either that's going to happen on the 5th of November, or it's going to happen on the 6th of January. Several Democrat members of Congress have already said publicly on TV, led by Jamie Raskin, that they will attempt to block the Electoral College count on January 6th to keep President Trump from taking office based on the Fourth Amendment and insurrection. The Fourth Amendment, Section 3 reads as follows. No person shall be a senator or representative of Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer in the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same. Notice that does not include the executive branch. That does not include the president, but they're still going to try and use it. And so I believe the Democrats like this. If Trump were to win, I think we see riots. If Kamala were to win, I don't think we see riots. If Raskin and Democrats in Congress try to block the Electoral College count on January 6th, I think you see riots from the right. So there's lots of distrust. Lots of lawyers are going to be engaged. It's going to be a messy election day. And it's an embarrassment. The most powerful country on the earth can't have a simple, clean election. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope it works out. If Kamala Harris is elected president, I want her to succeed. If Donald Trump is elected president, I want him to succeed because it's better for all of us. All right, we'll hope for the best. We'll leave it there right now. Always try to buy American.